Morning, everyone. This is Sadie, deciding to do a Flosstube extra kind of blog style of how the retreat is going. And so I am really happy that I came to the retreat. Everyone has been great. Ronnie has been awesome. And I am absolutely in love with what the theme of this retreat is, which is fairy tales. I love fairy tales, love the Grimm books, Hans Christian Andersen, like I can go on and on. So the fact that that's what this theme was, which was a surprise to me, I completely fell in love with it. And I feel like it all compounded because one of the places I wanted to go to in Sydney to like eat and stuff was the Grounds in Alexandria. And they have such beautiful installations. And I booked to go there the past Thursday because it was a really beautiful one. It was like very Paris themed, but I got there right when the installation was already done and they were putting the new one in, so I was right in between. But I booked for this coming Thursday because their theme now is Snow White. So the fact that this is all fairy tale based now has made my soul really happy. So I'll show you some of the stuff that Ronnie has put together as cute boxes for us. Woof. And then I'll show you the progress that I got on Stone Roses, because that was my focus piece and I'm super happy with what I got done with her. So at each of the tables, there, I believe we're supposed to be like six to seven people at a table. Mine has 5, which was nice because it just made it pretty cozy. And one of my table mates that was there was Raven from Gothy Blogs. She has her own Flosstube and Instagram, so it's actually been really nice to get to know her as a person and just chat about cross stitch, which has been great. So at each of the tables, not kidding, we each got this box. Like, how can you not love that box? It says Once Upon a Time. And when you went into the room, right, there are multiple tables. Each table had a centerpiece. And so I sat at the centerpiece where it was essentially a book. But there was like a apple, there was a rose in a glass, there was a pink rabbit, a peacock, like different themed fairy tales were at each centerpiece. And so I was at one at the book, and this is what everyone got. And throughout the day, Ronnie, and it opens, Ronnie has been passing around little trinkets to be able to put in these boxes. The first ones that came out were these floss drops, and they are the most adorable things ever. So on the back, they say the Mirabilia Fairy Tales Retreat in Brisbane. And each of the floss drops are, like, there's a group of them, but so here's like a magical squirrel wizard. There's a raccoon fairy. And then there's a squirrel princess. Those were, I believe, the main 3 that I got there. And it's a lot. There are a lot of floss drops there. And then the next one was a tape measure. Like, look how cute this is. So, was happy to get that. And then each one came with this cute little Once Upon a Time charm necklace. And then everyone got some counting pins that we got to choose. And mind you, I haven't ever used counting pins. And in my mind, I was like, when am I ever going to use counting pins? And then literally 10 minutes later, I realized what I do. And essentially just grab a needle and start making sure that I'm lined up. So I was like, okay, there's a reason why people use counting pins. So these are the ones that I got. And that's so far for today, the notions that we've gotten with this box. So I'm going to bring it back down today because this is day 2. And the other thing that Ronnie showed, which I was so excited about, because right, Nora's not here, but it's just been awesome seeing that the brag table is full of Nora's projects that everyone has stitched. And the majority of projects that are being worked on in the retreat are Mirabilia's, Nora Corbett's. And it's so motivating, so inspiring. Like, you just want to do everything. And I know that there are definitely some of the pieces that I was waffling on that I was like, it looks nice, but I don't know if I want to do. I've definitely put in my yes, I have to do pile in my mind. So there are definitely two of them. And I think there are two that are very popular. So there's Shipwreck, Siren in the Shipwreck, with that like jellyfish chandelier, beyond gorgeous. And then the other one is like mermaid with pearls, with all those jewels. Again, those two are a must for me. So I got really excited about those. And then, so it's Nora, it seems like usually, or a designer, if they're going to retreat, will design a retreat exclusive pattern. And Nora's done them throughout her retreats when she goes. But this one, I loved it. Like, I loved it so much, and I just knew that, like, I know I'm gonna probably get a fabric there today. I'm gonna try to kit it up at some point and start it. I'll probably aim for like May or June. Give myself a little bit of time, but so cute. And it's essentially, Ronnie told us that we have the drawing of it, and it's not digitized. So like the pattern itself is still in Nora's handwriting and in her shorthand. So it'll be very interesting to how to decipher some of her coding. And Ronnie, the host, said that she plans to start in the next couple of weeks. So she's going to be troubleshooting. And if anyone has questions, then we can ask her. But this is the drawing that we got. And I am fully in love with it. So down here, it says fairy tales. And then in these scribbles is I think it says Mirabilia Australia, or Australia Retreat. And then with 2025 down here. But she is gorgeous. She's got like 4 water lilies. She's got some krynic, definitely has beads. I am in love with it. And I want to start it. Likely when I get back to the States is when I'll start it. So in the retreat, this time, unlike Queen City, because Queen City was my very first one, and it was interesting where I definitely felt like I was burning out at that retreat. I don't know if it was a lot of stimulation, like there was just so much activity, so many things to do that you're just on excite mode, that I just got so fatigued at that one. But this one, I was actually able to sit from 9:30 to 5:20 and just stitch the whole time and not feel like I didn't feel tired. Maybe like after lunch I felt a little tired, but felt great. And I'm really happy with my table mates. One of them kind of joked and said that we are like worker bees, because we were very quiet, like we're just in the grind of working on projects. While other tables, I mean, you hear the hum behind of like chatter and stuff. And I appreciated that. I wanted to focus, work on a project, and the fact that everyone around me was doing the same thing motivated me even more. So I'm super happy with my table, with all the people that were there. And throughout the day, Ronnie did a great job of having us take breaks. So like everyone started yesterday at 9:30 to stitch, and then there was a break for morning tea, which is kind of just like a little snack with tea or coffee, and then they provided lunch. But it wasn't one of those where like, it was just literally like you go in, have your snack, come back into the room. Lunch, come back into the room. And that afternoon tea, had my little coffee, they had really cute snacks, came back into the room. And that flow like worked for me as well, because as an introvert, I do get very anxious when I am in a room just full of people, right? Full of strangers, people that I don't know, and I have to kind of pick somewhere to eat. It's like that situation in a school cafeteria, if you don't really know anyone, and you just look at that swarm of places with tables, and you're like, where do I sit? So thankfully, I just was there for like 5 minutes, drank my coffee, went back into the stitching room, and just sat and worked. So without me chatting so much more, I will show you hopefully here like a picture of what stone roses looked like before I worked on her, and then a picture after. So I'm gonna show the pattern, but in a sense of the colors that I have on this pattern, so you shouldn't be able to see the symbols. But what I worked on yesterday is the blue patches that are on my pattern, and I had my little ring clicker that I left in that room, but that was okay, and I got like over 700 stitches, which felt really great for me. So like all that blue is what I worked on, and I was super happy with that. So I show it because since she's very monochromatic, you may not see, it may not look like there's a big difference, but with my color paper, there really was a big difference. So moving all my threads here, but this is it. So essentially I worked, right, like I worked on this side where some of these very subtle rainbows, those are the water lilies, and that's part of the ribbon that's coming around, but that's literally probably the only color right now at the top. Got to fill in around here, and today I'm planning to work back on this side because now here I've reached like the end where there's just background from here, so I want to try to do as much as I can there. And then I found out, I'm gonna have to look it up, this little needle minder I got, and they're called gumnut babies, which Ronnie said is a very Aussie thing, but it's the cutest thing ever. I'm gonna have to look up all of these gumnut babies. They said it's pretty much like storybooks for the kiddos, but they are so cutely drawn. So I'm glad I got a lot of work on her. I was contemplating, like I said, either working on the other side of her or working on my seasonal mermaid, working on Autumn, because she needs some good loving as well. You'll find out tomorrow what I worked on. The jury's still out. I've gotten also a couple of comments on my hoop because of how I have it placed, where like it's the inside of the hoop instead of outside. So I do this because I used a hoop. This one's a newer one, but I used a hoop before where for some reason there was a little bit of rust that was on this part, on the metal aspect of the hoop. And when I did it the normal way, where you just essentially put the hoop like this, I did it actually on my Twisted Mermaids, and I found a little spot of rust on my fabric, and I couldn't get it out. I was like, oh, I did not know that this could happen. So now I'm really paranoid about that potentially happening with wooden hoops. I love wooden hoops, and I like using them, but that metal clasp on the top, I'd rather, if there happens to be any rust, to be on the underside of my fabric than on the forefront. So that's why if people see that I have the under part of the hoop, that's why I do it. Now, if I have, like, I think I have some plastic hoops that don't have metal tighteners, and so those I have it normal, where the drum's on the outside. But for the wooden ones, I have them on the inside. But yeah, so we'll see what kind of goodies we get today. Ronnie's been doing a couple of raffles. We'll see if we get lucky. And today, I think they also have us sometimes do a field trip to All Threads, which is the LNS here in Brisbane. That's exciting. I would like to go and just see what there is over there. I know that I'm going to buy some stuff today. Yesterday, it was me just looking at the brag table, looking at the shop that they have, and determining what it is that I would want to buy before I actually do my purchases today. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Good morning. We are still in Australia. If anything, we're back in Sydney now. We just had a couple of days that we were driving down, stayed along the coast, but I am back to give my thoughts on part 2 of the retreat. So you heard me gush about it the last time, but I still agree that this retreat was awesome. I felt kind of similar vibes, similar feelings to the one that I did for the Queen City Stitch retreat, but somehow I felt more comfortable, and there are probably multiple factors with that. So I really was happy with how Ronnie did this retreat. Very low-key, like everyone was there to stitch mirabilias and other designs and make it low stress. There wasn't a lot of overstimulation, which I appreciated. I didn't realize how fatigued I got last time, especially because where I was sitting at the Queen City Stitch retreat this past year, I was near some of the tables and the stores, and when women go crazy over fabrics and stuff, they get loud. And I think a lot of that really overwhelmed me and just made me more tired then. But this time I was able to just sit, stitch, interact with people, and it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I'm like, it's too bad that Australia is so far away, because I would want to come to this retreat every single year. So for that Sunday, I switched gears from Stone Roses to my seasonal mermaid style from Bella Filipina. And I worked on the Autumn Mermaid, and I was really happy I did, because it finally jump-started that motivation to get this style done. So I will show what progress I have. Hopefully I've shown a picture, like here, what it started with, and then what I got now. And mind you, because I wanted to stitch on it so much, I worked on it for like a day after as well. But really, this is what I got, and I am super happy with it. Like, I was happy that I finally got into the skin as well. That part I was nervous about, because the original color palette that Drin chose made her look more gray, but I used Lord Libidin's skin conversion, which I believe it looked like Drin actually used the same one, and his goal, I believe, was to make a darker skinned mermaid compared to the other two, like to try to make them all different skin colors. So I'm trying to respect that thought process, but I chose something a little more brown and dark than that gray color. I think it's going okay. We'll see how it goes, but so far, and the skin now, because the other two, if you heard me before, I did them 2/1 full cross, which made them so thick. And this was before I learned what 1/1, 2/2 meant. So I did 2 threads, 2 flosses over one, essentially 1 thread, so like one really tiny X. And it just made the skin so thick. And at the Queen City, actually, with my table mates, I talked about it, and one of them recommended to try doing 2/1 half cross to at least make it look consistent with the other two. So I've been doing that, and it not only still has good coverage, I think, so like I'll try to show one of my girls from before. So right, like this is the 2/2. Let's see how close we can get. Right, it's 2/2, and then this one's 2/1, and then this one's 2/1 half cross. And if I'm really picky, maybe every once in a while I can see some of the blue, but I think there's still pretty good coverage, and it's definitely not as bulky as the 2/1 full cross. And I'm actually going pretty fast. Like, this is, I think, my first time doing half crosses and just half crossing the whole time. And it's going faster than it did with the other two. So I'm happy with how it's going. I just picked up, because I knew I was missing a thread and I just didn't get it back at home. But here in Australia, they have like a cool store called Spotlight, and it's essentially like a Joann's mixed with a TJ Maxx mixed with a Party City. So I went in there, I was just like, am I in the right place? But I went and they had essentially a similar spot. They have fabric, they have needle art, they have like regular sketching crafts. And I went to the DMC section, and they had DMC. They have all the DMC there. It is pricier. So I am sorry, Australia, that you have to go through that. I stopped at the one in Brisbane first, and then I went to another one lower down, and I'll show you why in a sec. But in Brisbane, it was $1.50 Australian for one skein, which is a decent amount. I think that's even like 70 cents in US, but still that's a lot more than the US. And then down in Port Macquarie, it was $1.20, but still I was like, okay, yeah, DMC is a little bit more expensive than US. So, but like I said, that is the main project that I worked on. That was also the day that I did some shopping. So Sunday was shopping day. And I will show you all the items that I got there. I have them here in my portfolio that I brought. And they were so nice. Ronnie came up to me and was like, 5 Americans signed up for this, and you are the only one that actually came. Which, come on, America, like, let's step it up. If we commit, let's commit. It was fun. Even without Nora, it was still fun. And so I was there. So a couple of times it's funny because they come up and they're like, are you the American? I'm like, yeah. I am the American. And there were two young ladies that were helping Ronnie. That were her family. And when they found out that I was American, literally their next question was, do we sound funny? And I was like, do I sound funny? Like, or do you think I sound funny? I'm in your country. Like, I expect you to sound Australian. Do I sound funny? Because I probably have the accent. I mean, they're like, no, you sound as expected. You sound like an American. I go, the same to you. You sound like an Australian. And then I realize it's funny because I think, right, we think of stereotypes, and I have a feeling when they hear American, they assume we speak like Wild West. You can come out. They assume that we speak Wild West, like Texan. I'm like, no, we speak normal. And so, or I don't know, we have other dialects. So that was adorable. So anyway, I got 2 new patterns and 4 fabrics. It's a lot of fabric. I have like a running list of patterns that I'd like on my phone, and a couple of them, like if I ever go through the Mirabilia list and just look through, and again, I go through, I'm like, oh, I really like that, and I see that I've already added it to my list, I put a star as like, yes, this one we've absolutely like. So I got 2 of those. And the 2 that I got were Aphrodite Mermaid. And mind you, this one was there stitched up. So nice. So nice. And then this one, of course, Rapunzel. So pretty. So I'm really excited. Those are my 2 new patterns to my collection. And then I got 4 pieces of fabric. 3 have plans, 1 does not. I think that one just ended up in I mean, I paid for it, but it ended up in the pile of fabrics. I'm like, ooh, I'll figure out what to do with that. So these, Ronnie knew the names. This, she said, was a fox and rabbit. What's the name? I don't know, but it is hot pink, and that's all I know. It is a beautiful hot pink. And I know for sure I want to do the I want to do, I believe it's Stephanie from Lindy Stitches, one of her needle market designs that I ordered, and I will show you guys those pics next week on my regular Flosstube because I'll have to go pick them up. They, give me a second. You can watch me. I promise you're not on that side. I did press. It's still going, but if anything, I'll put it out. Like, there's nothing. Alright, we're back. So, the one that I wanted to do is, I want to say Morning Musings is that one, and this is definitely more bold, but I wanted something that was going to be high contrast. And I really like that design. I felt like it had a good message to it. I would love to finish it and have it at work as like a gentle reminder of why we're here doing the work we do. So that is that one. Then I got this big honking thing. This one, I would say, again, I don't know the name of it. It's not Fox and Rabbit, but it's someone else. But it is like a beautiful orange brown. And for this one, I'm getting a little crazy. And I want to do the Parkington's sampler. I will show a picture. But I loved those colors. But I wanted something to contrast it. Like I wanted that sampler to pop. So I wanted something that was a bit more contrasted to the blues, but not like just straight up pumpkin orange. So I think this one will be great. And this one was a fat half, so I don't need a fat half for that sampler. I'll use the rest for some other project because it's a really pretty orange brown. And then this one I got, it's from Color Cascades, and you're gonna hear crinkles. And it was very interesting because she had this design, and it happened with two others, where same dye, and this one's called Writing on the Wall, but both of them very different. Like this was much more saturated than the other one, but they were the same. So I think there is variation in this person's dyes, like dye lots. And I've never worked with them, but people love to order from them because that's like the person that does hand dyed fabrics in Australia. So this is Color Cascade Fabrics. I said this is Writing on the Wall, is a 32 count Lugana. And it is a biggie. And so this one, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I'll likely do a Mirabilia on it. I just have to see if I get it done or not. I won't say what it is yet because I'm still thinking. And then the last one, which is kind of my surprise pick, is a 28 count Dusty Green by who I don't know. But let's see. This one's definitely like wrapped up twice. Give me a second. But other than that, I believe someone came, a vendor that does like shaker boxes, which I've never seen before. But someone came to do that. There you go. Ooh, this feels... Oh, this feels like a witch elt. This definitely feels like a witch elt. It's a little on the stiff side. There you go. So that's perfect, because then I can definitely find a Mirabilia that will go on this at some point. And then everything ended at like 5 p.m., which worked out, because my boyfriend took a photography class that day as well, and so we met up after. I ordered Indian food, which Australia, y'all do Indian well. So good! Goodness gracious! Like, at home, we have, like in Bangor, I'm very happy that we at least have an Indian restaurant. Is it amazing? No. Is it edible? Yes. So if I ever want a hankering for it, I can get it from there. But here, oh, the options you have, I absolutely love it. So those were my haul that I got on this retreat. And from here, the next part, when I said I went to a second spotlight, was because I am so in love with that little gumnut baby needle minder that I showed you. And I thought I need to have that fabric to be able to make project bags, portfolios. Like, I definitely would love to make a portfolio that reminds me of Australia and the retreat that I went to, and a project bag to go with it, like a mat, the whole shebang. But I was like, I need to find the fabric, and America does not sell these fabrics. If they do, like, I'm looking on Etsy and they are like, no. I just went, okay, so Australia has to have them. So Spotlight had a lot of them. Like, that's the place to buy them. And I went, okay, I don't think I went super crazy, but I needed to. Mind you, again, things are expensive. And so for them, they go by a meter, which is 0.9 of a yard. So I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit more with getting the meat. I think 1 yard, there you go, 1 yard is 0.9 meters. That makes more sense. So you get a little bit more with a meter. But for regular price, like right for our bolts in the US, they're probably between $12 to $15 if they're not on sale for a yard. Here it was $25 for a meter. I was like, oof, that is pricey. So some of these I got mainly a meter. Other ones, there were a couple that I really liked because I was going to make bigger projects, and I got 2 meters. But I will show you the designs. So these are the babies. Like, gang, they remind me, they're like a reminder of Cabbage Patch Kids with the cherubs in Fantasia. Like, they just look so cute. I just went, I need it. Another one right there, the little fairies. And the flowers are so cute. So this is like the dark blue version of the pink one I just showed. And then this other one, we got 2 more. I got 2 more people that are the gum nuts. This one was more on the green side, but same thing. Ooh, and it's also like 1970s cartoons. Absolutely love it. This one, this one is gorgeous. This one, not only is it the gumnut babies, but it's also the fauna in Australia. Like, please tell me, how can you resist that? How can you resist that? You can't. The answer is you cannot. This one, I definitely got 2 meters because I want to do, this one I think is what I'm going to do the portfolio with. That I'm going to do the portfolio, the mat, a project bag, thread holder, like the whole thing with this one. And then to accompany those, I got these other 2 fabrics, which I thought were super cute. It kind of reminded me of Tula Pink, where she does like flowers with little cute animals hiding. So cute. Let me see. Sometimes, you know, you can find out who the designer was on these things. This doesn't say. Don't know. And then these very cute strawberries. Like, aren't they cute? So that was an amazing haul. Yes, I have enough space in my bags, thankfully, to be able to take them. Yeah, I got really excited with that. So that was my journey. I ultimately had a very positive experience. I was really happy. I will be going to the Queen City Stitch Retreat in October. I've got the hotel for that, paid for that, so got my work cut out for the next 6 months. We will see how things go, like what projects I get done and I can show for then. Otherwise, I will see you guys back in the States and next week for my regular Flosstube. Otherwise, have a good day.